Do you have uphill hopes and downhill habits? This is message 508, and this message is dedicated to Charles Duhigg. Habit is probably the most powerful tool in your brain's toolbox. It's driven by a golf ball sized lump of tissue called the basal ganglia at the base of the cerebellum. It is so deep seated and instinctual that we're not conscious of it, though it controls our actions. If you do just about anything frequently enough over time, you will form a habit that will control you. You have good habits and bad habits. Good habits are those that get you to do what your upper level you wants, the better you. And bad habits are those that are controlled by your lower level you and stand in the way of getting what your upper level you wants. You can create a better set of habits if you understand how this part of your brain works. For example, you can develop a habit that will make you need to work out at the gym. I know it may be hard to believe. Developing this skill takes some work, though. The first step is recognizing how habits develop in the first place. Habit is essentially inertia, the strong tendency to keep you doing what you have been doing and not doing what you have not been doing. John Maxwell wrote, quote, "People have uphill hopes and downhill habits. The only remedy is intentional living," end quote. I read Charles Duhigg's best-selling book, The Power of Habit, and it really opened my eyes about habits. Duhigg's core idea is the role of the three-step habit loop, is what he calls it. Habit loop. The first step is a cue, some trigger that tells your brain to go into automatic mode and which habit to use. These are invisible drivers, and the majority of our actions are prompted. Control your prompts, and you control your life. Step 2 is the routine, which can be physical or mental or emotional. Finally, there is a reward, which helps your brain figure out if this particular loop is worth remembering for the future. Repetition reinforces this loop until over time, it becomes automatic. This anticipation and craving is the key to what animal trainers call operant conditioning, which is a method of training that uses positive reinforcement. For example, dog trainers use a sound, typically a clicker, to reinforce behavior by pairing that sound with a more desirable reward, typically food, until the dog will perform the desired behavior when it merely hears the click. In humans, Duhigg says, rewards can be just about anything, ranging from food or drugs that cause physical sensations to emotional payoffs, such as feeling of pride that accompany praise or self-congratulation. Habits put your brain on automatic pilot. Consistent people are really not more disciplined. They've simply established habit loops. If there is a behavior you want to establish, pick the cue and reward doing the behavior. That's your habit loop. And it's the most powerful tool in your toolbox.